Okay, so really happy that you guys were able to get on because I don't know if y'all watched my live. I did a live on the team page this past week, and the live was a lot about self-sabotage, and it was a lot about just different topics, but the one thing that I had talked about the most was the self-sabotage portion and how self-sabotage can really just crush you. It could really hurt you. It could really just do a lot of different things. And coming from someone, I'm someone who self sabotages a lot, and I've noticed it in the past year more than ever is when I have realized and tried to stop it as much as possible to stop being a self sabotager. And so I talk to a lot of you guys. I have a lot of conversations, a lot of side conversations, a lot of just conversations with y'all throughout the day. And I noticed so much self sabotage. It is absolutely unreal. And if we're being completely honest, and I wanted to be honest on this Zoom tonight, and I don't know if y'all felt it when y'all have talked to me this week, but I was unwell this past week. Okay. Mentally, I was just not, I was checked out. I was not there. I had a lot of like personal issues going on with like family, and I didn't think it would affect me like it did, but it affected me really badly throughout the week. And that's completely my fault for letting it drain me so much, but it affected me. And then it just really got to me because it started trickling into other areas. And so I honestly have cried a lot this week. It has been a really, really, really rough and hard week. And if you haven't felt that talking to me, good, because I was trying to fake it until I make it. But then again, at the same time, I don't think faking it until you make it serves anybody. And I just wanted to kind of come on here and say that first off, because I just wanted to be real. And I don't think that being fake or saying like everything's okay when it's not is healthy. I don't think it's healthy for leadership. I don't think it's healthy for um, you guys, and I don't think it's healthy for the future, things that we're trying to build. So I just wanted to be honest and just number one to ask y'all to give me grace, because this week just has not been okay, and I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to work on it, but I'm still not the best that I can be. And I keep telling myself I'm going to go see a counselor, and I have not yet, and I'm just so tired of telling myself I'm going to do it and then haven't. So I'm going to go call one tomorrow and make an appointment, just because I know that there's a lot of deeper issues going on, not anything that has to do with this business, but we know that one area in our life trickles down into other areas of our life. So we know that when you're maybe emotional or depressed, or you feel some type of way in your marriage, or maybe it's a relationship that you have with your parents. For me, it's my mom and our relationship. It's not healthy at all. And so it trickles into different areas of your life. So just letting you know, everything is completely fine business wise, but mentally I'm like hanging on by a thread. So I wanted to be really, really honest on here, because I was going to talk about the topic that I wanted to talk about, because I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm human. I make mistakes. I am not always perfect. I do not always have my crap together, even if it feels like it. Like, I'm someone who unhealthily will work this business and enroll customers effortlessly and do everything on social media and act like it's fine, but in the background I'm like tearing down into pieces. Okay, so for the ones who have checked on me, and for the ones who have just been like okay with it and known that I'm not trying to sit here and be lazy by any means, I think for my biggest part is that I never want to come across in a way where I'm not leading from the front. So I'll sit here and still message you guys and check in with you guys every single day when I'm sitting here crying in the background. Like, it's not healthy. I have a lot of boundaries I need to set for myself. So working on it, just wanted to be honest, but thanks you guys for being patient with me, and know that it'll be completely fine. Like, I'll be okay. One of my best friends is coming down tomorrow, and she was like, I'll be with you. Let's hang out. And I was like, okay. So it makes me a little bit happier. But um, during this time, I wanted to talk about like specific topics because self sabotage was one of them. So I'm going to read you guys this, and like I had mentioned from when I first started this, I talked to so many of y'all on personal levels that so many of y'all have self sabotaging beliefs and systems that you can't seem to break. And I know for me personally, it's been really hard for me to break self sabotaging beliefs and moments that I've had. And so I've really, really worked on them intentionally. And I still find myself doing it time and time again, where something is going good, or I prayed for something specific in my business, or I prayed for something for so long that I wanted. And then when I receive that thing, or when I get that goal accomplished, or when I get the thing that I had worked so hard for, I'm like, okay, cool. and then I go back down to the mode of being uncomfortable because that's what's comfortable for me. So for instance, just to give you an example, I will, pray and work towards this specific paycheck. I get it and I'm like, I'm so excited, I'm so grateful, and then 10 seconds later I'm back down to where I was because I know how I'm good with money now, so it's not like I blow all my money, but it's more in a sense of like I'll go and be lazy for the next 30 days because I made the paycheck that I wanted. And it's like, no, that's not an excuse for you to stop working. And so many of you guys I see where you are at in your business, or when you make that $150 and that's all you really needed, or you make the gas money, or you have those conversations and it's going good, you sit back and you realize, okay, I'm good. I don't need to like hustle, or I don't need to do these things. In reality, that's such the opposite mindset of what I want y'all to know. When you're getting and receiving the things that you want in this business, and not even just in this business but in this life, I want you to break the habit of just knowing that it's okay to continue and continue in the right direction. Some of you are so comfortable with being broke that when you actually start making money, you self-sabotage yourself and tell yourself all the reasons why you don't deserve that money. I can tell you the most money I made in this business was last year, and I know I'll cap it this year. Not cap it. I know that I'll make more this year, but last year was the most money I'd ever seen in my entire business, and I self-sabotaged so much. And in the back of my mind, every single time I made a high paycheck, I literally told myself, and I don't know why this is, but I told myself, you don't deserve this. You're greedy. You're selfish. And I told myself all these things. So guess what happened? The very next month, I lost the paycheck that I had worked so hard for, and I went back down to the paycheck that I was comfortable at. And so if you maybe understand this, or you feel this can speak to you. And I know honestly everybody can like speak to that, because I know you maybe relate to this in some portion of your life. It doesn't have to be money. It could be literally anything. So anyways, Joyce Myers, this is a really good book. It's super, super small read. It's a very small book, but it's by Joyce Myers, and it's called Powerful Thinking. And it says no more excuses. And it says, one reason many people do not enjoy their lives, miss out on some of the blessings God wants to give them, or feel bad about themselves is they truly do not believe that they can do whatever they need to do. So they quit before they even meet the goal. When they hit challenges is when they quit. I'll pause here for a second. Whenever you guys have one little bump in the road, I see some of y'all stop. Okay. Again, I am on the very unhealthy side. When I see a bump in the road, I continue to plow through it, and then I'll plow through a billion more, and then I'll plow through just a billion more, and then I'll burn myself out. Some of you guys are complete opposite, and you're on the opposite spectrum of if someone just gives you a negative comment, you're like, oh, the world's over. Oh my gosh, I'm going to quit. I suck. This business isn't for me. Oh my gosh, this is a scam. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Some of you are like this. So this can speak to two sides of the spectrum, okay? It says they never taste the joy of a goal accomplished or desire fulfilled because they do not press past the difficulties that arise. How many of you guys can relate to something when something happens in your personal life, you put this business on the back burner? Because number one, you don't see that it's that important. Number two, you see it's the easiest thing to release because it is in your control what you can do in this business. We all know that we get paid for our efforts. So you know that if you just don't do your efforts, you're not going to get paid for it. So you're like, well, I'll just skip out on posting today. I'll just skip out on messaging today. I'll just skip out on personal development today. How many of you guys have actually done that? I know for me personally, I do it all the time, and it's actually sickening to see how many times I've done it and how many times it leads me down the rabbit hole of what I did not want to go down in the first place. And I see the same things happen with y'all that I do for myself. So I know it starts with me as a leader. So I'm taking full responsibility now, knowing that I have to check in my own actions if I want to see a change in what y'all do. And so I hope that I lead by example by the most part, but some of these things I'm like, oh, this hits close to home. So it says, everyone has their go-to excuses. When something hard or undesirable happens and challenges face us or gives us more than we want to deal with, we think or say any of these things. This is just too hard. I don't have enough time. I hadn't planned on this today. I don't have the money. I don't have anyone to help me. I can't see how this would actually work. I just don't feel like it. I have too many personal problems and too much going in my life right now to continue. I don't know how to do that. I have never done this before. I don't even know anybody who's ever done this. Nobody has ever been successful before me. I am afraid. So this is just a list, and obviously there can be so many more that fall into that category, but how many of you guys have said one of these? I know I've actually picked out about 5 of these that I have said, so I know that I'm not the only one that's felt this way. And then it continues to say, it says, many of these thoughts are based on emotions, the way that you feel about a situation. Let me encourage you to do not think or speak out of your emotions. How you feel does not always agree with God's word. I will pause here again because I had a talk with one of my presidential friends in the business. She's extremely successful. And she was just like, you know what, Macy, you're an amazing leader. And I was kind of telling her like just a couple of things this week that I was frustrated with. I was frustrated with seeing so many of you guys self-sabotage. I was so sick of people coming to me and asking for advice and asking for things to help and then never seeing a change on what they do. I was just sick of a lot of different things. And going back to what I was talking about when I'm telling y'all that I've had a really hard week this week is because I'm bearing so many different burdens right now of other people's problems. And I let that affect me and affect my emotions, and I let it affect my work. And then it just pours into so many different things. And again, that's my fault because I carry way too many people's burdens. If I see that you have a problem, I'm like, let me fix you. I just want to help you. And that's the yellow in me. But at the same time, I drain my energy, and I need to set healthy boundaries. And I do not have healthy boundaries yet. Okay. Because I just want to help too many people. And so it's not a bad thing, but it is kind of a curse. So one thing that she was saying is that, Macy, I love you. And you know that I can say this in a red way and like you take it in a really good sense. You put too many of your emotions into too many things that you do in this business and outside of this business. You give your emotions away, and that is just not healthy. You cannot act and react based off of your emotions all the time. And I can tell y'all from personal experience, when y'all come to me with problems or you come to me with questions or whatever, I'm putting full force emotions into it. So when you're doing the same work that I'm doing, and maybe you have someone who comes to you with a negative comment, let me guess, I could guess about more than half of you guys on here are going to take it more emotionally and be like, they were so mean to me. And then you're going to ponder on that thought for a full 24 hours and contemplate if this is for you. That is normally me. When anything else in this business, I'm very confident in what I do. So if someone comes at me with a comment, I'm like, bro, don't even test me. But with anything else, I'm like, oh, wow, that really cut deep. That hurt. So I put my emotions in so many different things. And I see a lot of you guys wear emotions on y'all sleeves. Stop working in this business. Stop working based off your emotions. Stop. And I know you've heard that before, where people are like, stop working based off of if you want to work or not. I'm talking about that, but I'm not talking about that at the same time. When someone hurts your feelings, or when something goes on in your personal life, or when something crazy is happening in your family, you cannot let that affect your business. And I know that sounds like really selfish and like not okay. I know I preach to y'all all the time, take care of your emotions, take care of your mental health, things like that. So there's a line there's a difference between the two. But some of you guys literally have a family member, something happen, or like they say something negative and you're like, I'm not going to work my business for a week. And then those emotions roll into the next week and the same exact thing happens. And then the next month you're going to look at your paycheck and then you get upset and you put your emotions back into it, where you're like, wow, this business isn't for me. I'm not even getting paid, or I'm not getting paid the paycheck that I want, or this isn't working, or whatever. And it's because you let your emotions affect you in the first place. Again, this is me. I'm speaking to me too. So I'm speaking to all of us when this says this. So this is what she's talking about. And she was just basically saying, it really doesn't matter what the challenge is. We know we can handle it through Christ. Defeat is not an option. Then it goes into saying, thinking about negative circumstances too long will empower those circumstances to overwhelm us. No wonder the Bible says we should look away from things that distract us and instead fix our eyes on Jesus, who is the leader and the source of our faith and who brings our faith to maturity. We need to remember all the time that he is the one who empowers us to do all things and look to him regularly throughout the day. If you will begin to think every day, I can handle whatever life hands me. I can do whatever I need to do in life. I am more than a conqueror. I am equal to anything through him who infuses inner strength into me. Even before you get out of bed in the morning, just roll over and let that sink into your mind. Your confidence will skyrocket, and you will find that indeed in him, you can do whatever you need to do in life. And then it just goes on to give you like kind of steps on how to do that. And I'll ask the questions, but they're rhetorical, so you can answer them on your own free will. But it says, what do you need to begin to believe you can do with God's help? What steps will you take to do it? Then the next one says, what will you begin to think and say to reflect your confidence in God's ability to help you to do whatever you need to do? And then the next one says, in what specific situation do you need to believe you are more than a conqueror? How can you act on that belief? So just going back to that. So I kind of wanted to talk about that for a moment, just to talk about number one, don't base your feelings and your emotions off of what you can do in this business and what you can do outside of this business. I think a lot of us need to cross that boundary and figure out what type of balance we need, because I see so many people in this business day in and day out. And this is where I got emotionally drained last week. It's where you would come to me, you would ask me questions, you would ask me for advice, you would do it for a day, you would do it for 2 days, you would do it for a week. And then next week, everything's going so good for you that you self-sabotage yourself. You self-sabotage yourself based off the emotions that you had from maybe someone saying a negative comment to you, or because you go back to the comfort of believing that you aren't meant for more, you're not meant for success. So then you go back to down to that level of self-sabotage where you're not working your business. And then it's just a circle. It's a cycle. It's a never ending cycle. It's a very dramatic cycle. It's very tiring. And that's why I have been so emotionally drained this week that I literally feel like I have had zero energy to give, because I'm tired, and I'm tired of seeing so many people let just the outside world, let people who maybe don't have the belief system that you have, your family members, whoever, affect your business and affect the actions that you do within this business. And I've just had like such a weight in my heart, and I've just been praying over it. And I'm like, God, I cannot sit here and force these ladies to do something. I cannot force these ladies to pick up their little tiny fingers and go message people. I can't force these people to go do these things. And so I've carried that burden for so long, thinking over and over and over again. And I was just like, what is wrong with me? 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 And that is a question that I've asked myself over and over and over again. And I was like, why can I not seem to have these girls duplicate? Why can't I seem to have these girls go out and do the work, do it consistently, and then actually see actually see their paychecks rise? And I kept putting the burden on me. And I finally realized that when my friend talked to me this past week, she was like, Macy, you're such a good leader, but you have to take the emotion out of it. And so I realized I was putting so much emotion and effort behind people who just don't want it, or just who don't care, or just people who just don't, at the end of the day, are never going to have that thing click in their mind, because there's only so much you can do to help a person. And so I just had a lot of just like thoughts. And one thing that ties into this belief specifically is, if you are someone who is on the fence and you're teeter-tottering back and forth, and you're like, is this for me? Is this not for me? Number one, you need to make a decision, and you need to make it quick. You don't need to keep teeter-tottering your feelings back and forth. You don't need to keep stepping one foot in, one step out. You don't need to keep posting on social media for 1 minute and then the next you don't post anything at all. You need to choose and decide, what do you want? What do you actually want? You joined this business for a reason. You paid the fee to get started. So number one, if you don't want to do this business, okay, whatever. But I'm going to be honest. I feel like everybody on here wants it. So I am speaking to everybody who wants this in a case, but maybe you are on the fence and you're like, is this for me? Is this not for me? Whatever. I don't know. If you are thinking this, I think that you need to have some major self-reflection and figure out, number one, what are the limiting beliefs that are causing you to keep self-sabotaging? And I'll give y'all some personal examples for me. And Brittany just posted that Morgan is live. I will go share her video after, because I'm assuming that they started a little bit later than I had expected. So I'm not going to waste my time and go share that really quickly. So I'll do it after. But if you are, can y'all go share Morgan's live video and tag your potential distributors that I had texted you before this? So I'll keep talking. Anyways, so one thing that you need to do is figure out, what do you want in this business? And I am going to give you specific examples of how I self-sabotage and the limiting beliefs that have stopped me in the past. Number one, I never thought that I could make an impact. And why I never thought I could make an impact was because of my home life and how I grew up, and the things that my mom has put me through and the things that my family has put me through. I never thought that I could make an impact and that I had a story to tell. So I never thought that I would be significant, and I never thought I could make a difference. And so I let that get in the way of me becoming successful in this business, at least for the first 3 years. If you know anything about my story in this business, please don't beat me. Please don't beat me. It took me a full year to even promote to the first rank, which is only like $200 a month. Okay. It had nothing to do with this business. It literally had everything to do with me. And it was the limiting belief. I did not believe that I deserved more because of how my parents grew up. I believed that if you made more money, it was meant for you to either spend it or lose it all. Because when I grew up, we had everything everything, I would say, not say everything was handed to us, but like my parents were living like lavish. We basically lived in what it felt like a mansion at the time. Looking back, I mean, it's a really big house, but it's not like a mansion. But I say mansion because, you know, when you're a small human, everything feels like a mansion. But when we were younger, we lost everything. And so we literally went from having this nice house, nice cars, living this nice life. We would ask our parents for something, they would give it to us, to going into like a 3-bedroom house. But when I say like 3-bedroom house, I live in a 3-bedroom house now, but it was like, it was so small. Okay. So I wasn't used to it. So I was like, wow, is this what it's like? Like my parents went bankrupt, like they lost everything. So now I had the association with, okay, if you have more money, you're either going to lose it all or you're selfish and you don't know how to spend it. So for the longest time, I worked out of fear, and working out of fear is not a good place to be anyways. And it's just not fun to work out of fear. So if you are working out of fear right now, please don't shift that focus. But some of y'all need to break through these self-sabotaging beliefs and say, what is causing me to believe that I don't deserve more? Or what is causing me to keep, every time I have something good happen in my life, I just crumble back down to where I know that is comfortable for me, which is barely making ends meet. Or maybe you don't even have a personal financial issue. There are some girls on here on my team that are like, I didn't even really join for the money. I just joined for a little bit more freedom, or I joined because I wanted to start going on more vacations with my family, or I joined because of whatever. It doesn't have to be some financial burden. But some of you guys, I just see it over and over again. You're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, yes, we're going to press through. And then I check in with you the next day. I'm like, how did that go? How did the 6 list go? And you're like, oh, I haven't gotten to it yet because of this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then you put the but behind it. And you know, when you say a sentence and then you put a but between it, it erases everything that you said before. So it's like, you are so beautiful, girl, but you need to lose a little bit of weight. Do you think they would ever even hear the pretty out of that? No, they're going to hear the but and then whatever you said after the but. So think about that every single time that you say, oh, I'm going to go do something for my business, or I'm going to go do something for myself, and then you put the but in between it. It's taking out everything that you just promised yourself that you were going to do. And so if you haven't watched my Zoom, my Zoom, that was, my brain's all over the place, sorry. It was called Starting Small. It's on my YouTube. It was the one that me and Rachel did a couple of months ago. It talked about starting small. So if you are someone who does deal with self-sabotage, and you're someone who you have all these hopes and dreams in your life, but you literally have never been able to accomplish a single one because you always self-sabotage, it talks about starting small. So instead of sitting here and promising yourself these big crazy goals that you want in your life, you start with just something super small. And if you don't know my story about starting small, how I actually found success in this business was just starting small. Was like literally starting really, really small, and it had nothing to do with business. Actually, it had something to do with my personal life. I knew that in order for something to change in my business, I had to change something in my personal life, because those two connect. You know, when you feel some type of way in your personal life, it's going to leak into your business. It always happens. So that's what I was just talking about with emotions leaking into it. That's what happens. So what I did was, I was so tired of lying to myself, telling myself that I would go exercise, that I would be healthy, that I would lose weight or whatever. So I just chose to commit to myself to stop drinking Cokes and Diet Cokes for 30 days. That's all I needed. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could stop drinking Cokes and Diet Cokes. You've heard the story a million times. If you know, you know. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's great. That's how I chose to commit to myself and show myself that I could actually be consistent in everything else. Now, with everything that I do, I can actually say I'm consistent in almost every single thing that I do. And it started with me not drinking Cokes anymore for 30 days. Okay. So it's a really great story to talk about. But anyways, going back to what I was talking about. So, what is it? Oh, so the next topic that I was going to talk about really quickly, because I don't want to go over too much time, because it's supposed to be 30 minutes, but I'm just a talker, and sometimes I'm passionate about what I talk about. But some of you guys are treating this business like it's burden, and then some of you guys are treating this business like it's inconvenience. So it goes back to dropping the ball in this business. And if you're not in this business, if you're not in this portion yet, and you're like, no, I'm actually like on fire, I'm on top of the game, I'm still in my training process, like I'm excited, that's amazing too. I don't want this to kill your vibe. Please keep doing you. But there will be a point in your time where you will get to this point. And it's not to set you up for disappointment or failure or anything like that. It's just to prepare you, to let you know you do not have to go down this hole. You do not have to be the person who does self-sabotage. You can fix it before it ever even starts. And I pray and hope that that's what happens. But some of you guys are acting like it's a burden or an inconvenience. So some of you guys, when I text you or when you're talking to your leaders or whatever, again, you go back to saying, yeah, I love this business, but, or I'm doing something, I was doing really good, but, or, I'm really excited to do this goal, but you're constantly putting those buts in between and it's not helping you. It's not serving you. And so if you don't want to keep acting like this business is a burden or inconvenience, number one, you need to figure out what you love about this business. Okay. If you are in this rut or you feel like you're in some type of circumstance where you're like, I don't know what I want, that's okay. I've been there before, you guys. I'm literally here right now with you. I know what I want as far as future goals, but as of right now, I'm so emotionally drained and frustrated. I don't know what I want to do next. I don't know what move I want to make next in order to help you guys. So I'm right there too, but I know there's never been a day where I've acted like this business is an inconvenience. I will always work my business and show up because I know that it's going to pay forward and I know that my business is going to turn out how I want it to because of the efforts that I've put in. If you keep acting like it's a burden and an inconvenience and you keep saying, oh, I'm going to do this, but I didn't see results for the past 3 days, or oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I signed 3 distributors, but they didn't stay around, or oh my gosh, okay, I hustled last month, I did great, but my paycheck wasn't where I wanted it to. Again, you are going back to the self-sabotaging beliefs that anything that you want is going to just drop at the palm of your hands. Something that I hate about this generation and society in general, and it just frustrates me, but I try to roll with it, is that we are such a microwave popcorn society. You literally go to the gym and you hear people say, why haven't I lost a pound in a day? You have customers who will text you and say that they've been taking the products for a week and they're like, why haven't I lost 30 pounds? You yourself have probably done one of these things where you're like, oh, I'm doing self-development, but my mindset hasn't changed yet. Or I'm going to therapy, but I haven't seen a shift in my mindset yet, or whatever. You can fill in the blanks. I know I've done this too, but some of y'all are expecting instant results. And that's really frustrating as a leader too, because I'm trying to teach y'all the longevity of things, but you're so short-term and so short-minded that you can't get past your own limiting and self-sabotaging beliefs to see that there is going to be success along the way, that there is going to be growth along the way. Some of you guys have seen that growth and seen that success because you gave it a month. Then you self-sabotage yourself by saying, okay, I don't need to do anything anymore. I'm good. I showed myself that I could make $100. Okay, I'm good. So I'm going to keep making it. No, you have to keep working like you're going to keep growing, because otherwise you get paid off of your efforts. If you stop doing your efforts, you're not going to get paid. I'm trying to make sense here, and I'm trying to help you see that just if you figure out what exactly you want in this business and you treat it like an actual business and you stop treating it like it's a burden and you actually start seeing it as a blessing, instead of sitting here saying, oh, I would work my business today, but I just don't have the energy, or I just don't feel like it. Start treating it like a business. You literally joined this business for a reason, even if it's just for an extra $100. And I promise you, within a year's time span, you're going to be so amazed at the amount of money and the amount of lives that you've changed. It's going to be unreal. And I want y'all to feel that. But some of y'all are such short-term thinkers that right now you're contemplating staying in the business or not, because you're like, well, I haven't made $1 yet. And you've been in for 2 seconds. Or you have only messaged 5 people and you're like, nobody's interested. Okay, this sucks. No. I had someone text me the other day and they're like, I think people are getting bored at seeing what I posted because that nobody's commenting. And I'm like, bro, you've literally only made one business post. What are you talking about? People are getting bored. No, they're waiting for you to continue going. Like, you're not going to bore people. If anything, you're going to get on people's nerves, and then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this girl is so consistent, I can't deal with it. But then they're going to be obsessed because they're like, wow, she's actually consistent, I respect her. And then they're going to follow you. It's just, it all comes together. And I'm just so, I don't know what else I can do as a leader to just show you the path of what can happen if you just stick with it, and show you the path that you can be anything that you want to be. You can do the things that you want to do. You can make the money you want to make. You can do all the things. But number one, you have to stop self-sabotaging. You have to figure out what you want, and you have to stop acting like it's an inconvenience when you do this business, and you have to have short-term thinking. I think it's great to have short-term goals. So please have short-term goals as well, as far as like, okay, I'm going to get this many messages out today. I'm going to have this many people, this many conversations by the end of this week. Like, goals like that are perfect. I love short-term goals like that. But if you're expecting to make $1,000 based off of your efforts right now, I feel like you need to kind of check your work and see, okay, where can I be better at? And then also figure out what makes you passionate. Figure out what you love about this business. What do you love? Do you love the products? Do you have one product that you're obsessed with? The gummies and coffee, and the ThermoFight, my ride or die. Love them to death. Okay. So I love those products. So I know that even if I were to quit tomorrow, which I won't, but I would still take those products. You need to fall in love with the product. Okay. You need to be a product, fall in love with the product. You need to figure out your why. Your why needs to be strong enough. You need to actually do the action and to do this business. And if you don't know, because maybe you're newer, which I know we have newbies on here right now, or maybe people have revamped their business. There's some people in here that just restarted and they decided to jump back into this business. If you don't know what you're doing, ask your leader, but we can't expect to help you, or you can't expect us to help you over and over again. If you've literally texted me a million times to ask for the same question and then you don't do what you just asked me to do. Like, you don't do it over and over again. It's very draining. It's very, very draining as your leader to help you when I constantly see you not doing the work that you've asked me so wholeheartedly, all the questions and all the answers that you have in the world. So anyways, hopefully that helps. And I know that this is a complete rant and it's just kind of all over the place. But like I said, my emotions have just been like on like level 100 this week. And so I'm kind of just like feeling in and out. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. But the one thing that I want you to take away from this is just, I am really excited to see who takes after their actions this week. I'm really excited, but I'm also kind of scared. And this kind of comes from like the honesty standpoint, is I'm honestly scared. I'm scared to see who actually decides to do it and who actually is going to do it. And I'm scared to see how many people are going to choose to not commit for themselves again. And it has nothing to do with me. If you decide to walk away from the business, I can't take personal offense to that. It has nothing to do with me. But at the end of the day, I get so frustrated when I see people just, I just see so much potential in so many people. And then the fact that people just walk away or people give up so quickly because you don't see the results that you want, but you know wholeheartedly deep down you haven't done the work necessary. It just frustrates me. It gets me on a whole another mood. So I'm excited to see who takes the effort this week to actually dive in to figure out what you want. And in this month strong, there's just so much to be looking forward to in this business for this next year. Because I've been hand in hand, like talking with corporate. I've been working with them. Like, they've been telling me, like the VIPs, they've been telling us like things in and out that's going to be happening. And I am so fortunate to be in this company, and y'all should be too if you knew what was coming. But at the end of the day, if you haven't made the decision whether you're staying or whether you're going, you need to, number one, make that today. And I'm not trying to rush you, but you actually need to make that commitment. You need to stop having this little teeter-totter of emotions, because you're only hurting yourself and you're probably hurting the people around you as well. Make a decision for yourself. Make a decision. And then when you make that decision, number one, stick with it. And then number two, do the action necessary to actually see the results that you want. And I promise you, it will pay off. I'm so Dallas and I are very, very financially blessed, and I can say that. And I'm so fortunate where we're at now, but I can tell you, when I first started and when I was on this teeter-totter back and forth, I was not financially okay, and it was totally my fault. But I do not want to see people struggle. I want to see y'all live out y'all's financial blessings. I want y'all to see y'all live out y'all's dreams and goals of being stay-at-home moms and retiring from your jobs. But you can't do that. You cannot do those things if you don't start being consistent in this business and doing the things necessary. And it hurts me to see some of y'all be so inconsistent. It hurts me to see some of y'all say that you'll want these things over and over again. And at the end of the day, it's really wasted my energy. It's really drained me. It's made me in a very bad mood this week to see how many people that have asked for help and then just have not. I don't know. I don't even know at this point. I feel like I'm repeating myself, because I totally am. Just know that I'm coming from a place of, I love y'all, but at this point in time, these next couple of days, if it appears that I'm more silent in chats and being present in conversations with you guys, it's not anything personal, and it's not because I've taken a step back from the business or anything. It's not anything like that. I just am deciding and figuring out who I want to work with, and who's coming with me, and whose energy I'm going to spend time on, because I do have to set those boundaries. I absolutely have to set those healthy boundaries that I've told myself I was going to for so long, or else I'm going to absolutely lose it. And I don't need to lose it. Okay. So, if you want it, great. If not, that's okay too. But just know at the end of the day that nobody can change your actions. Nobody can change you except you. And it starts with you. It starts with your actions. It starts with your heart. It starts with your mind. It starts with you figuring out what you want. It starts with you doing personal development. It starts with you actually doing the tools necessary. We have all the tips and the tools in the world to help you be successful. And I know some of y'all, I literally am still in training with y'all in here. So I do understand that completely. So we still working with you. But just know that I love y'all and that my heart is here. But if I am not there this week, it's, again, I'm just still trying to figure out emotionally. I'm just not as well as I want to be yet. So I will be completely fine. But if y'all could just give me grace during this week and while I figure it out, and set boundaries with my family members, do all that good stuff, that would be great. I love you guys. And let me know if y'all need anything, and I will figure out what day and time might work best. And we might not change the date and time of these Zooms at all, because if this does work for majority, then I'm not going to move it. I already told Morgan, I was like, Morgan, I love you, but I'm not sacrificing my own team for the majority of everybody else, because I want my team to like feel like they're loved. So I'll figure that out. But just know, just go into this week with some type of vision of what you want and go after that vision and figure out what you want. Do the action behind it. Do some self-development. Journal out what you need to journal out. I don't freaking know. Figure your own crap out first. Then come to me if you need help. But just figure out what you want. Just figure out what you want. That's all I need from you. Just figure out what you want. And I respect it, whatever it is. But stop wasting people's time around you and stop wasting your family's energy. If you're like, I'm going after this goal, I'm doing this. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, I thought you were going after that goal. And you're like, oh yeah, I quit again. They're tired of seeing that. I promise you, your audience is really tired of seeing that too. I'm tired of seeing that. As your friend and leader, I'm tired of seeing it. Okay. So love you guys. Y'all have an awesome night. Hopefully this helps. And if y'all want me to take a picture of, I'll just send this in the chat of what I had read earlier, because it was just really good. So love you guys. Y'all have an awesome night. Bye.